Well, hello and welcome. My name's Mark Buchanan and I'm the founder and principal consultant here at Practicalize. So the other day I was on LinkedIn and a thought leader called Simon Sinek put a post up there saying Martin Luther King did not make a speech saying I have a plan. His speech was all about the idea that he had a dream. Well, that kicked off a huge torrent of comments and replies to replies. And honestly, it was probably the most satisfying, grown up, well behaved, useful discussion I've seen on LinkedIn for quite some time. And out of that, I just thought I'm going to put down what I think the connection is between vision or dreams, mission, and values. Now, I'm not claiming this is the only way you can look at those things, but it is a way that I've been training and teaching others to use and putting into practice in my own career and in the companies that I've managed. And I think there's real value if we start to understand how these can work together and how to get the best out of them. So let's start with vision. So in my opinion, vision is a vibrant and compelling picture of how the world would look if our mission was executed perfectly. And probably the key word there is compelling. So the whole idea of vision is to make people want to do something. And we'll come back to that a bit more. But really the key job of vision is motivation. It's how people get up in the morning and say, you know what, I'm so bought into this that I want to volunteer my best efforts and my best skills in the pursuit of this vision. So then we come to mission, and mission is a succinct statement of the reason our organization exists. Okay, so that's much more nuts and bolts, much more nitty gritty, but that's what gives us purpose. So vision motivates us, but then the mission of the organization that we're part of is where we find our purpose and our meaning. And then we've got values. And again, this is my opinion, but I think values are the key characteristics of the ideal person to execute our mission perfectly. So if we could find people who would just instinctively, automatically start moving towards the fulfillment of our mission, what characteristics would those people have? What kind of traits would they have? And that's what I think values are. So values are about authenticity. And again, we'll come back to this a bit more. But it's easier to steer people who are instinctively pointing in the direction that you need compared to trying to push people who don't really want to point in that direction into the right place and the right direction. So carefully looking for people who already have values and then inculcating values into the people you've already got is a key part of the reason why you will succeed at your mission and therefore satisfy the vision. So if you're starting a company, then you may well be starting off with a vision. So you already know what the world needs to look like when your company is successful, but you've got no idea whatsoever how to do that. So you're going to start with vision and then work towards mission and then start hiring people who've got the values that you need to help you do that. But what if you're coming into an organization that's been around for a long time? So its mission is already out there and you've been hired to help it achieve that mission. Then you would start from mission and start saying, what's your personal vision for your role in that organization? Or what's your personal vision for the team that you lead? So you're starting with mission, but you're trying to find a vision that will liberate your own passion and skill and commitment and energy and focus and that of your team. So you can start with either one, in my opinion, of vision or mission, but you definitely need all three of these things. So if you've got a mission and values, then you need to fill it in and find a vision. If you already got a vision, then you need to find the mission that will express that vision in a way that people are going to buy into. So let's think a bit more about vision. There are certain types of words that you would expect to see in a vision statement, and they're going to be poetic and descriptive and persuasive, possibly a bit emotional. It's kind of colourful, vibrant language, but it does also need to be fairly short and very simple so that it becomes memorable. So you can't have a vision statement that's 3 pages long because people will just give up long before they've heard the whole thing. So it's a few paragraphs or a few sentences that paint a picture of a better world or a more effective process or a different kind of technology. But it's a bit like a script for a short film, or it's a bit like lifestyle advertising where we're trying to get people excited about the results that we think we're going to achieve. So have a listen to this. This is something that I came up with some years ago. I worked for a long time with an American organization called Franklin Covey, and their flagship course in those days was the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It is a fantastic course, and if I had my way, everybody on the planet will be made to do that course because it's so liberating. It's brilliant. But I was writing a vision statement based on a couple of the exercises that we used to do. So have a listen to this and see what it makes you think. So Malam is sitting in a presentation when a voice she's never heard before whispers to her that she was selected before her birth to be part of a grand plan to bring hope and fulfillment to millions of others. Now, that could be a film trailer, couldn't it? Because it's got some key themes in there that we really like. The fact that we are actually more special than we think we are. But actually, that's true. We are more special than we think we are. The voice goes on to say that every single one of the reasons she carries in her head for not opening that cooking school were actually planted there by an enemy. So again, this is the whole concept of paradigms and how self-limiting beliefs hold us back from so much that's great. And the enemy is usually fear or doubt or something similar to that. She feels a surge of joy, and this time, instead of disappearing like it has done in the past, it starts to fill her own body, her whole body. Without even realizing what she's doing, she starts to write. Ideas and plans start to flow through her pencil. She's not even thinking about it, but it's just coming from somewhere deep inside of her. She loses all sense of time, but when she finally puts down her pencil, she's got 7 pages of messy notes in front of her. They're not coherent, and some of them don't even make sense. But deep down, she knows that in amongst them are the beginnings of a plan for her new career. Now, that could be a film, but it's an idea that I carried in my head. Why am I getting on yet another plane to fly to yet another country, leaving my house behind, leaving my friends behind, going through endless airport security routines that drive you crazy? Why would I do it? Because I'm carrying a vision in my head that the content of this course that I'm going to go and deliver is so liberating, is so life-changing, is so positive, so affirming, so encouraging that it's worth going through all that crap. It's a bit wordy, but that was a vision statement that I came up with a long, long time ago. Here's another one. This is from when I was the CEO of the UK's largest online Christian retailer. And this is when we're talking to publishers and asking them to support us as we started to do new technologies and bring in some new marketing ideas. Imagine a bookshop where you feel just as at home as you do in your own house. The decor suits your personal taste perfectly, and all the staff know your name. The books are arranged in such a way that it's obvious where to look for a particular title. As you reach to pull a book out from the shelf, a small screen appears near it and gives you the key information that you need to decide if it's the book for you. You choose a few titles and sit in your favourite chair, knowing that you can stay there as long as you want. You still haven't found what you want, so you turn to attract the attention of one of the staff, only to find that they're already coming towards you with 3 books, none of which you would have picked yourself, but all of which you eventually buy. Now, that was my vision for our online bookstore. And there's technologies behind every one of those statements. But it was to help them get excited by using the analogy of a physical bookshop and what would be great about that to get them to buy into what we were doing to build an absolutely brilliant online digital book and product buying experience. So it's painting pictures. It's trying to reach in and tap into some of the emotional centers of our listeners or our staff or our customers and get them to say, yeah, that would be great. And that's all we need to do. We just have to get people to say, you know what, that does sound amazing. And that's something I would want. That's something I would buy into. That's something that I would support. So there's a couple of other great examples. One is the one we've already mentioned. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech is a masterpiece of rhetorical motivation of millions of people, some of whom didn't even exist when he made that speech. So a very, very successful speech. The other one that I love is the St. Crispin's Day speech from Shakespeare's play Henry V. It's where the concept of band of brothers comes from, where he has to paint a picture for the few remaining soldiers that he's got of how glorious it's going to be, how amazing it's going to be, that they're going to take on the might of the French army, badly outnumbered and sick and under-equipped. And how people who weren't there will be sorry that they weren't there because they'll have missed out on this incredible experience of camaraderie. Now, Shakespeare was a genius wordsmith, and there is reasonably good evidence that actually all Henry V said was, lads, let's go. But Shakespeare's version is so much more pleasing and satisfying, isn't it? So if you haven't seen either of those, they're both available on YouTube. Go and have a listen. Those are fantastic vision statements. So that's vision. Now, why have I used an umbrella? Well, in my head, the leadership role is to have a huge umbrella, an umbrella so big that there's room under that one for other people who may not be quite so visionary as you to find expression and fulfillment of their own vision for themselves and their teams. So by me going first and making shelter with my vision, other people can prosper under that umbrella, and then people below them can prosper under their smaller umbrellas. And then also, it's casting my vision as far and as wide as I can so that there's meaning and purpose for the people who are willing to commit to me and work in my organization. So lots of planners, the left-brained amongst us, who are so essential for effective business and success, are possibly a little put off by vision when you first talk about it because it seems a bit fluffy and nebulous to them. But it gives them a meaning and a purpose. And it says, yeah, go ahead, write your code, build your spreadsheet, define your processes, do your root cause analysis, do all of those things that we need. But while you're doing it, do it in the pursuit of a purpose that you can really buy into. And in terms of making a coherent business full of passionate people, vision has an enormously important part to play. So then we've got mission. And again, there's certain kinds of words that we would expect. Again, it needs to be short and simple. But now the language is more about measurement and objectivity and clarity and purpose and logical, can even be a little bit clinical. And that's great for a mission statement because this is a definition of purpose. So we don't want to be fluffy and nebulous with this. We need to say, come on, we're going to do this. And a good mission statement at the end, you should be able to say, have we done it completely? Are we halfway there? Or have we not achieved it at all? So it's got to be measurable and containable. That's the key difference between a vision statement, which you can't really measure in any realistic terms, and a mission statement that you absolutely can measure. So I would define a mission statement as a statement of the non-financial criteria by which the success of your organization will be judged. So here's mine. This is for Practicalize, my company. It's my mission is to improve the lives of 1 million people by challenging their thinking and therefore shaping their behavior. Because if their thinking changes, their behavior will automatically follow. And once their behavior changes, their results will improve. And I've put 1 million people in there because I don't want to just impact a few people. I don't know if I can really get to 1 million, but I'd rather fail in the pursuit of a big number than easily win on a small number. That's just how I motivate myself a little bit. But the key thing there is, am I changing the thinking of people? And is that change of thinking generating a change of behavior? And are they reporting back that they're getting better results? So it's highly measurable, but that's what I've built my business to do. So a couple of other examples. This one's from PayPal. So their mission is to build the web's most convenient, secure, and cost-effective payment solution. LinkedIn, to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. The three components of mission are quite interesting as well. So, mission is a statement, but then in the fulfillment of that mission, that's what opens up the door to planning and then strategy. And most important of all is the ability to consistently execute. So, there's a huge amount behind the concept of mission, and we could keep breaking that down into more and more modules. But it's really where the planners get to work. It's where the logical ones amongst us really start to get their teeth stuck into it. It's where process comes in. It's where numbers and metrics and measurements and progress and charts all start to find their value and their usefulness. But that mission is going to be difficult to motivate people towards without a clear, well expressed, constantly broadcast vision. And then we come to values. So I would describe values as the human traits and characteristics that will instinctively drive the success of our mission. So if we take a couple of examples, for instance, we could look at nursing on the one hand and graphic design on the other, and they're just random examples really. But if we think about some of the values that you might want to see in somebody who's decided that nursing is the career for them. So you would want people with a strong nurturing tendency. You would want people with high levels of compassion and people who really see the importance of dignity. They're dealing with people in their worst state. People are generally not their best self when they're in hospital or in some kind of recovery process. So you would want to pretty carefully pick people who had those values. Now, they still need the medical skills, there's hard work, there's all kinds of other things going on there. But it kind of makes sense, doesn't it, that those would be good values to choose if you were hiring somebody into the nursing profession. Now, once people are in our organisation, it's our job to value and reward the values that will help us achieve our mission. We may even have to sanction those who don't show those values. And of course, by constantly demonstrating from above and all the way down the organisation those values in action, it will tend to draw those values out, magnify the impact of those values, if you like, in everybody else in the organisation. Graphic design, simplicity is key. You want people who know how to make a really simple but effective logo, how to use space and leave enough white space to make it look good. You want new ideas and different ways of thinking. So creativity is really important, and the details can often make or break graphic design. So you'd be looking for people who show high levels of diligence. So for any given role, there will be certain values that are more desirable than nearly all the others. But then there are also other values which might be common to nearly every job. So most jobs would benefit from people showing relatively high levels of empathy. So if we hire people who already have these values, that's what drives the authenticity of our business. The worst thing, and I see this so many times where you wander into an organization somewhere in the world, they show you their corporate handbook or their company manual, and it's full of all kinds of values like diversity and mutual respect and agility and globalization. And they're all good. You know, when you look at them, you say, oh, that's great. But quite soon on, you realize these are just words on a piece of paper. There is no living embodiment of these values in this organization. And it just pushes everybody into a state of hypocrisy. And people don't like being like that themselves. And certainly customers can be very quickly put off. So it's when you see banks doing their TV advertising and saying, you know, you are so important to us, we listen, and then you can't get a reply to your email, that just sets up a disconnect. So values are only useful if they're actually alive and well in our people. And that's what people are looking for as customers, is the authenticity that when they deal with your organization, they actually feel the impact of the values which you say are important to you. So hope that makes sense. But just to summarize then, and again, this is how I see it. You may have slightly different views. And if you do, put them in the comments. Let's have a discussion on that. That would be really helpful. But to me, vision is a vibrant, compelling picture of how the world would look if our mission was executed perfectly. Mission is a succinct statement of the reason our organization exists, and values are the key characteristics of the ideal person to execute our mission perfectly. Hope you found that helpful. If you have, please do like and subscribe here on YouTube. And if you really enjoyed it, perhaps even think about going to buymeacoffee.com/Mark Buchanan. And there you can help support this channel, help me offset the cost and the time of making these videos. So thanks for being with me. I've enjoyed it. I hope you have too. And we'll catch you on the next one.